Hello guys, welcome to Respect Fitness. My name is Barinder Singh and I have a special guest with me today, Ryan Hearst. Ryan has actually been training with us for, how long have you been training with us, Ryan?
About seven and a half years now.
7.5 years, but we're going to talk a bit about his journey, where he started, where he's got to and where he wants to go. So Ryan, what's happening?
All good, are you?
Good.
All good.
I'm good. So tell us a bit about your journey. When did you start at Respect Fitness?
I started when I was about 16 years old. I came to the gym. We were looking about, me and my dad actually came looking for loads of different gyms. We came to here, went to I think Apollo, went to one in Beaumont Lees, and just, we never really enjoyed the vibe, and then came here and just had a chat with you and straight away, just you as a person kind of, it made us feel comfortable to start. And then started ever since.
So tell us a bit more. When you came here, you didn't look like this when you came here, did you?
No.
Well, how did you, when you walked in here, how was you? What was your physical state?
Really good looking. No. When I started, I was about 17 and a half stone. 17 and a half stone was the heaviest I weighed myself, so I could have been a bit more. And that was when I was 16 years old. And so the first goal to start boxing was just dropping the weight. There was always a thought process to fight, but obviously not to start. I've been fighting heavyweights. I'm only 5 foot something, so that's not. No, that wouldn't have worked out. But I was so nervous. I wouldn't speak to anyone. You know it. I'd come to the gym and I'd stand. I can actually remember the first day. I went to stand at the back to warm up, and there was loads of kids chatting and all that. There was no space because everyone wanted to go at the back, and you pulled me to the front. And I fucking hated it. Just looking in the mirror, skipping, looking at myself going, oh, this is like first day and I'm at the front. But probably the best thing for me, because every time I came since, I was always at the front. But I didn't speak to anyone, didn't speak to you.
Yeah.
And I partnered with my dad every time. Didn't speak to you probably for about a year and a half.
Yeah, you're a very quiet kid, I remember.
Oh, no.
I remember. So we started, how many years ago did we say again?
About 7 years ago.
About 7 years ago, so it's been a long journey, isn't it? So you lost a lot of weight. You weigh what you now? Super welterweight now, yeah? So we're weighing about 70 kilo.
Yeah.
So you've lost 6.5 stone.
A lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight. A lot of weight. So after you lost your weight, and then you obviously, remind me, how did we get into your first fight? I don't think I was at your first fight, was I?
No, you weren't.
Ian
was, yeah. Ian was at the first fight. Aaron was there as well. It's in Coventry, Sky Dome.
Yeah.
Rena was fighting on the same night as well.
Yeah.
I can remember that was a wicked night, but nervous. First time, Joe walking out in a vest. I was worried more about how I looked instead of the fight. I thought I trained hard enough, but do I look good? I thought his vest's a bit tight. No, but it was good. Hard fight. Got a nosebleed, and then in my head I didn't know how the fights were scored, so I thought I've lost the fight. Yeah. Then I got my hand raised, and I was like, oh, thank God for that. But that was an eye opener. Because even before the winner was announced, I thought this boxing is a lot harder than I thought. A lot harder than I thought.
Yeah, it's not a game of football, is it?
No.
Unfortunately, you can't pass the gloves on. So even at that time, I think you were working. Where were you working? You were working in a nursery, right?
Nursery around the corner, Gingerbread.
Gingerbread cottage. And what are you doing now with yourself?
Personal trainer now.
So you've come a long, long way. Life's changed a lot, isn't it? And how many fights did you have with us here?
About 25.
About 25 fights, yeah. So you did obviously a good record, good career. And then you got offered a pro contract, didn't you, after our last show? Was it in March?
Yeah, last one was in March. Because Neil Tomo came to watch, and then he had a chat with Carl Reeves, and they offered me a 3-year contract, turn pro. Yeah. After that one, so all the hard work paid off.
So how do you feel about that now?
Feeling good. It's a big step up, obviously. I can't mess with that now. Can't be slacking in the training. Can't be cutting corners now.
Well, you never slacked in your training anyway, did you?
No, but
I won't let any of you slack in the training anyway.
No, but it's just little bits like even food. Everything has to be a little bit more strict to have to be on a better routine. Not better routine, but stricter routine. You can't slack a little bit, because if you do, someone's working harder than you. And professional, as soon as you lose once or twice, promoters don't really want to know you unless you're a big ticket seller.
Yeah, that's right. It's all about putting bums on seats, isn't it? Mm. So where do you see yourself going forward from now?
Next year, just because I think we're having about four round fights to start. So next year we'll just be trying to get minimum 4 fights, trying to get on. First one will be in March, and then after that, the year after, we're going to 6 round and 8 rounds fights.
Yeah, okay. All right. So what's your end goal? Where do you want to be?
World title. Everyone's goal. I don't know.
I know everyone's goal is world to be a world champion, but can you see how do you see yourself progressing to get to that world title?
I think it's not just in the ring.
Early days now.
I think it's not just in the ring. I think it's outside the ring as well. Because I think a lot of people neglect the fact that you actually do have to sell tickets. You have to be a character. You have to have a personality at the end of the day.
Be a personality.
There's some people that are just boring. They might be great boxers, but boring. It's like, and if they can't sell tickets, then promoter don't. Well, you can't get matched in the fights that you want to be because they're too expensive. So it's trying to find the balance of building your name and then progressing yourself in the boxing career in the right way, not rushing it either. Because you can rush it, go for a Midlands title early or British title, lose it, and then you're stuck.
We've got to grow organically, as we say. So I think that's all the questions really that we've got to ask. But that's more or less the whole boxing career done. What you doing? Talk to us about what you do outside of boxing.
What, with personal trainer?
Life.
A lot of it.
You got any girls around you troubling you?
Not at the minute.
Well, I've always told you, you're going to know what this sport. You're going to be a single man.
Not at the minute. Not at the minute. I learned the hard way with that one. Not at the minute. No, I'm focused a lot on the training, the PT, personal training at the minute as well, and just focus on myself for a bit. Trying to build everything up.
Yeah.
Focusing on myself, no one else, no girls. Went on holiday recently as well. That was good, refreshing.
You always need a break. Always need a break, especially the amount you put your body through training. Don't forget your rest is just as important as your training.
I know. I think that was the first time I took a rest since I started.
Yeah.
Because after every fight, I'd come back to the gym the very same week. I'd fight on Saturday. I'd be here Monday,
That's right.
and I'd be wanting to spar or do something. I never really let my body repair. But then after that last fight, took a week away, went to Malta. Body felt brand new when I came back. Not just body, but your mind feels better. Because you do need that switch off, because you put everything into it. A lot of people don't understand how much goes into boxing. Mentally, it is draining. If you focus on it as much as I do, or like you would when you were fighting, you have to give it everything. So if people want to go out for a birthday, I can't go there.
It's all or nothing, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you want to make it to the top, you've got to be completely dedicated.
Someone wants to go out for food, it might just be a social thing. Oh no, I can't go for food. I've got to fight in 2 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever. And then that slowly, as you go fight by fight, your mates and your friends start going, oh, I'm not going to ask him. So it starts getting lonely as well. You start going, I'm by myself training, by myself, eating, doing everything it is.
It's a lonely sport. You've got team respect, you've got your teammates around here, but at the end of the day, all of you individually have to get in that ring and perform, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not a game of football. You can't pass the gloves on,
No.
unfortunately, so it is a lonely sport. So just going back to your young days, obviously we've talked about the weight issue, but there were other issues in your life that perhaps hindered you in being more social, I suppose. Can you talk a little bit about that?
When I was, we went through it when I was younger, but the court case we went through here. When I was younger, I was abused by a family friend. And then, obviously didn't really say anything for years and years. It happened when we went to court, between 7 and 9. It happened, but it wasn't until I was about 17 when I reported it.
Yeah.
And I reported it only because I lost my temper at home. And kind of all my emotions got caught up. And I can remember I wrote it on a piece of paper just to put in my drawer, because I had a game of cell, just a drawer, because I had an argument with someone at home. And I went upstairs, wrote on the back of a piece of paper everything that was bothering me in my head. And that was one of it. It was the last thing. My mum came in and she saw me writing it. The only reason I wrote on it was to put it in the drawer. Yeah. And she's going, oh, what's that? And I said, don't worry, it's nothing. Now, so obviously...
At that time, your mum and dad didn't know...
No, they knew nothing.
What had happened?
They knew nothing. No one knew anything.
Yeah.
But looking back at it now, I think she probably thought it was like a suicide note.
Right.
Because I was upset and lost my temper, writing on the back of a note. Probably don't look that good, but Yeah, then I shown it her, and the minute I shown it her, she broke down. Then showed my dad, and then showed my sister, and then my sister said that it happened to her as well, by the same person. So then it was kind of like a wake-up call that it wasn't just me.
Yeah. So you obviously ended up in court, and what happened there?
Court took about 3 years to get through court. It didn't go our way. We had to do a lot in them before. Like no one believed us or believed me. My mum believed me, my dad believed me. Obviously, like, you and Ian, the people that were close,
Yeah.
but like close family wouldn't believe me. And so my uncle was on about doing a lie detector, and the person that did the stuff, he told him to do it, and he said he refused to do it. He said that he could have dirty thoughts in his head and then fail the lie detector because of his imagination. And then they asked me, and I said I'll do it straight away. So they got someone down from Manchester.
Yeah.
Cost them, I think, 600 quid. And she said to him, she said, I don't do victims. She said you shouldn't, the victim shouldn't have to prove what they're doing. But she said for this one we'll do a one-off. I can remember that was the hardest thing to do, the lie detector, because you're strapped up on your finger. You have to take your shoes off and put on a mat because she said it detects every little bit of sweat. Yeah. So I'm sat there at the table like that, and I'm thinking if I move one bit just from being nervous, because my hands were shaking, I thought if I move one bit just from being nervous, does that mean I'll fail it, and then everyone will not believe me? It took about half an hour to do. Then after, and she said that I passed, that I was telling the truth. She broke down. She was like, I'm never doing that again for a victim.
Yeah.
But it didn't really fix anything, because the people that didn't believe me, they didn't want to believe me, because then they started making excuses saying that it was pseudoscience and we couldn't use it in court because it's 99.999%.
Yeah, so it's 100%. So all the, I mean, kind of lost for words, but although the decision in court didn't go your way, or you didn't get the result you were hoping for, do you feel like that, it actually lifted a bit off your shoulders, and maybe you can move on with this a little bit? I mean, you can never forgive. I'm not saying forgive and forget, but I'm just saying, do you feel just going through that process and actually opening up, letting people know what's happened to you, like you're doing on video now, do you feel like it's a weight off your chest, a weight off your shoulders? Or do you feel like you're still hanging there?
Do you know what? It don't really bother me day to day now, because I do feel now that I've got it out there, it's like out in the open. It's not like I'm holding on to the seat, because I held on to it for a long time. And like since the court, now that I'm doing my personal training, I'm teaching kids, and there's certain kids that have gone through it that I'm teaching or that I have taught, and I've helped them through their process and talking them through because I've gone through it, and almost they can look up at me and go, well, look at what he's done with all of his hard moments,
Achieved,
And I don't really, like, I haven't, a lot of people at this gym, it's probably you and Ian at this gym that know it. No one else does.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm afraid to say it, but no one really asks, or it's not something that you can just say. It's not saying, this is what happened to me when I was younger.
I suppose it's quite difficult for people to ask anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. Because, the minute I do say it to anyone, it's almost, they don't know what to say, because they almost feel like they can't ask questions. For me, I've moved on, like, now I'm talking. Before I would have been bursting into tears, wouldn't be able to speak. But it's like, if I know that I can help someone, you got to turn it into a positive.
100%. I mean, I always say, if you're not here to help people here on this planet, what you're here for? We're all human beings who should be helping each other through our ups and downs also. I can remember, I think we put you in touch with My Solution Wellbeing, so with the counselling and stuff like that. Did that help at all? Yeah,
just to get it out there, just talking about it, because it gives it just a different angle. Just sometimes you do feel like it's stuck in your head.
Yeah.
And when it's just, I don't know, just someone listening to it. She might not, like the person I went with, sometimes she was just listening and that was helping. And she'll just give a different view of one little thing, or say one little thing. Not push an opinion or agenda on there, but say one little thing that put my mind at ease.
So when you were talking about it, actually helped.
Yeah, it does help. Talking about it helps loads.
Yeah, I mean, we do a thing called mentor. You know, we do these workshops for everybody. We work with a lot with the mental health. And what I find, even through my own past and stuff like that, talking about things often helps you breathe a hell of a lot more rather than keeping it inside.
Yeah.
And I suppose for yourself, you kept it inside for all them years and just opening up finally and sharing your experiences and helping other people through it. I suppose it's going to be your, not your way out, but a way of accepting what's happened.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Turn it into a positive.
Yeah,
You have to turn everything into a positive.
Yeah.
When you look back at it, at the time it's always hard. It's later on. If you've done something about it, like, you know, there's people that I've helped, won't name names, but people that I helped with my situation where they've seen it, and it's like, I wouldn't have been able to help if I didn't do it myself, or if it didn't happen to me.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's almost, you've...
Understand.
It has helped a lot. Other people.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to say, or thank anybody, or mention anybody before we finish this interview?
I'd like to thank TMO Solicitors, all my sponsors, TMO Solicitors, Evolution Fitness, obviously you, Respect Fitness, Jerem's Fitness, Ian, Tommy with Discount Carpet and Flooring, and George Hyman Recoverer.
Nice one. So ladies and gents, don't forget this name, Ryan Hearst. You're going to be seeing him on Sky Sports in a few years' time, but he'll get there. And world champion he will be. Respect. Nice one.